I'm going to call meeting to order. It's 10 o'clock on October 9th. Let's see. First thing, we are recording this meeting. So if you are appearing virtually, if you could please, first of all, one person speak at a time. If you could mute yourself when you're not speaking, state your name before you start speaking. Our agenda is on our website. Before we begin, I'm going to start with a brief land acknowledgement. The City of Seattle Public Safety Civil Service Commission acknowledges that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish. We honor with gratitude the land of the Duwamish people, past and present. So the next item is introductions. So I'll start. I'm Richard Green, one of the commissioners.
Tom Applegate, Commissioner.
When I am Mays, Commissioner.
Great. So we do have a quorum. I don't think there's any need to go into executive session this meeting. Did we get, is there any public comment? Did we get any written public comment? No. Okay. So the next item is the approval of minutes. I've had a chance to look at the minutes. They seem accurate to me. Again, thank you, Ms. Jacobs. So I would move that we adopt the minutes of the September 18th meeting. Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, that's approved. Let's see. So the next item is action items. I guess there were no fireboat engineer practical exam protest reviews. So that's great. Next item we have is the fire police exam schedule that is on page 6 and 7 of your packet. Henry, do you want to talk about that or?
Sure. Thank you very much, Chair Green. This at page 6 and 7 is the proposed schedule for civil service, public safety civil service exams for 2026. It lists the application periods, all of the relevant date protest periods, the dates of the exams. This information is already up on our website and has been for a few months now, pending approval by the commission. So that's what we're here to do today. These are all of the exams that are planned. If there is some need for an emergency exam, we'll come back and talk to you about that. But this is what we foresee for the skeleton, the framework of the work plan for the fire and police exams unit for 2026. And we'll request the commission's approval.
Great. So I would move that we approve the 2026 exam dates timelines. So second that. Any discussion? Anyone wants to have any questions anybody has about that? All right. So all in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that's approved. Great. So the next item on the agenda is updates and discussion. First, fire and police exam unit updates. Ms. Sade, do you want to give an update on the police exam?
I think that's like a record right here on item number 7. That's something else. We're just getting it done today. Okay, Rachel Shoddy, Police Public Safety Exams Unit. I want to start by introducing the new member of our team who we're very, very excited about. This is Emily Winslow, who joined us on September 24th. And that's just kind of taken off like a rocket. I call Adelaide and her the dynamic duo because they are absolutely automating everything such that we don't have to do as many things manually in our communications with candidates. And so the two of them together have been working efficiently on a daily basis through our police exams email box. And so they'll be talking more about that. But Emily, do you want to take a few minutes? She comes to us from the National Testing Network, where she was a manager for 15 years. So
yeah, I'm just really excited to be with the city. I really enjoy the testing process, making sure that it's fair and same for everybody. And I'm just really excited to help Seattle hire who they need to keep the forces big and working well. So.
Addition. Thank you, Emily. Very excited. Welcome again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adelaide, did you want to give the report for entry-level lateral?
Yeah, happy to. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Yeah. So for entry-level police officer, we are continuing to process applicants daily and publish those eligibility lists every other week. So far this year, we've had about 3,300 entry-level applications, and we've also sent over 1,061 candidates over to SPD on the eligibility list. And so that is a pretty encouraging number. For some context. In total last year, we sent about 1,100 candidates over to SPD on eligibility lists. So given that we're just in early October, I expect that we're going to significantly surpass last year's number of eligible candidates. So yeah. For lateral police officer, so far we've had 66 applicants who met the lateral qualifications. And we've placed 28 of them on eligibility lists. And I think last year we sent about 34 over on the register. And so I think it's likely that we'll either meet or slightly surpass last year's lateral metrics as well in terms of eligible candidates. Yeah, and then we have our next lateral oral board administration on Saturday, October 18th. And then in terms of outreach to candidates, I just want to give a big shout out to Emily, our new team member. She has been so phenomenal in terms of just helping us respond to the many candidate email inquiries that we receive daily. And so, yeah, we're so happy to have Emily on the team, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily.
Thanks, Emily. So the other test that we have going on right now or in the process of development is our promotional exam for the rank of police sergeant. And we have our application process. It doesn't open until December 9th, but the development is in full swing. We have 3 development meetings scheduled to go over the initial draft questions for the written exam, and those start next week. So we're working on going over those. We also are planning right now on revising and incorporating new information and kind of revising our former orientation session materials so that we can hold orientation sessions with our candidates, applicants, to kind of explain the process and how they can prepare themselves to do well. So that's also in the works. We hope to have a good group with the Seattle Police Department has been going through their lists and almost completely their promotional registers. We only had 3 left on the last sergeant's register, and this one will probably be exhausted too. So if we have a good group take it next time, I think that will make it really happy.
Anyone have any questions? I have one. Typically, how many people do we get on the sergeant exam? How many take that test?
It's been about, on the register, we have usually in the high 50s, 57 to 60.
Great. Any other questions? All right, great. Thank you, Michelle. Fire exam, your sheet of Grace. Nice to meet you. Grace, great.
Come on up. Hi, I'm Michiko Grace Matsui. I'm one of your fire exams analysts here, and we also have Thevia and Amy Jo who will be talking about different parts of the exam stuff. So I wanted to make one note about the schedule upcoming for 2026. One of the reasons we have the schedule and we're presenting it to you is I want to note to those 61 friends of Mr. McKenzie that there are some pretty major changes to the timelines in order not to coincide with the FIFA World Cup matches. And so if anyone who's listening to this on YouTube later, I just want to highlight that the oral boards for both captain and battalion chief are earlier in the year than they would previously be, because we do not want to have folks trying to come in and do oral boards during those critical and really busy periods of the year that we'll be hosting FIFA matches. I know there'll be a large strain on all of our first responders to all the visitors that'll be here in Seattle, and plus we're hoping to avoid drastic increases in hotel airfare costs with our assessors who we bring in from other jurisdictions. So if anyone's listening, please equate yourself with the schedule. Right now in fire exams land, we are finishing up the rest of the fireboat engineer. So we're post the practical, and yes, we didn't have any protests. There are 2 candidates who successfully completed that portion of the exam. And then right now we're working on service credit calculation, which will go out in a draft form so that they can take a look at that before the publication of the register in December, so December 15th. Right now, looking at 2026, we're in the midst of putting out the proposed bibliography for both the captain and battalion chief's exam. So that combined committee is working feverishly to review resources and materials in order to meet the first deadline for publication, which is going to be October 24th. And then the final is going to be published on November 21st. That's where the 21 comes in. Yeah, and so for other promotional exams happening in 2026, we'll begin the development of fireboat pilot. Usually we start in December. It's a little bit offset from captain and battalion chief, so we're trying to do it all at once. So its test dates are later in the year than those other 2 ranks. And I'm going to hand it over to this part of the team and talk about firefighter and the exciting things that are happening with firefighters.
Very exciting things. So firefighter, the application for entry-level firefighter opened on Tuesday, and it's going to be open until November 25th. So far, we have 645 applications as of this morning. So it's really increasing already since we've been in this meeting. And then kind of the big work right now is trying to get all our assessors for the exam in January, the oral boards, and we need 60 civilian assessors. We have 25, so we're working to get that number to 60. And then for firefighter assessors, we have 23 and we need 100. So that outreach is happening right now as well.
Divya, will you say a little bit about the civilian assessor and why we have a non-uniform assessor on the oral board panels?
Yeah, so you want it to be representative, right, of the community that people are serving. So you have 2 people who are firefighters and uniform members because they're the subject matter experts, they know the position, but you want to have one person to kind of neutralize or have like a neutral perspective and not be biased by, fire. You want someone who is there to kind of keep everything aligned. So when they go through the training process, right, which we give all firefighters and civilian assessors, everyone is trained and they're all on the same page. So during an assessment, when they're rating a candidate, and it's 3 of them assessing the same candidate, it further makes sure that everything is fair because they all have to be in alignment when they score someone. So it's not going to have any kind of bias just because, of uniform personnel, that kind of thing.
I would also credit Chief Scoggins and the fire department for emphasizing the need to have a community voice and representative on the panels. It was only in 2018 that we started having a civilian assessor. And I think while it's brought some complexity to our work to try and find them and train them, I think it really has been an amazing addition to those, to bring that community voice, to bring that outside sort of perspective. And it also is an opportunity for civilian employees, we pull from city employees to fill that role, to learn a lot more about the fire department, to learn a lot more about the daily challenges of the fire department. And we see a lot of folks who connect, who work in IT or who work in construction inspections, and they get to meet firefighters that they normally would never get a chance to meet and work with them for 8 hours a day. So it's been a really neat opportunity.
Thank you both.
Great. Anyone have any questions? I had a question. Rachel, do we have civilian involvement in the police hiring?
So there are no oral boards for entry level. The police department did away with those. That isn't part of the civil service process, oral boards. But for lateral entry, we do have a civilian on the panel for our lateral entry award.
Oh, okay. Great.
Approximately when they did away with the whole boards as part of the testing process.
Not too long ago. I lose track of time, but it's been 8 months to a year in that time range.
Is that the chief's interview or the?
No, that's the oral board process that we're used to go through a formal structured.
But it's a
non-questions.
Right.
It's a non.
Post-register.
Yes, yes, post-register is what they used to. And it was just basically to kind of get a sense of the individuals that they were starting in the background.
Just kind of curious, the fire department that's done through public safety, civil service, and then the police department has it. It was done differently, and now they've thrown it out. Is there some history there? I'm just curious.
Gosh, I don't know when the decision was made to move oral boards on the police side from civil service to the department. It's been a long time since that occurred.
Oral for my entire 30 years.
So
That
it's
was
been
that
that way.
preceded me.
Yeah, so it's been, they've been doing it for over 30 years that there wasn't a civil service oral board. My understanding, and I just have my own tenure here, is that I think the department and the members really believe in the value of oral boards, and they believe that it's a time that they can check in with those candidates, get to know those candidates, and have a part of the process that they are involved in. As you can imagine, if you don't do any interview with colleagues, then it can be seen as only HR or the command staff making decisions about hiring. Now, ultimately, the appointing authority of the chief is the one who hires, but I think it lends itself to a ton of involvement by firefighters, lieutenants, captains, battalion chiefs. So at this point, there's a ton of support for continuing to do oral boards. We have talked about the advantages or the pros of discontinuing them, but it's never gained any traction.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. The police department did away with them, it's my understanding, because they were really trying to accelerate to the extent possible the hiring process, which is pretty long in the backgrounding.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
backgrounding piece is very long. So they were trying to get more people into it more quickly.
And I would add that it does absolutely add more time to the process. And I understand that other fire departments, jurisdictions have done away with them in order to accelerate. So we're a bit of an outlier, but the candidates who we see check in tell us all the time, you're the only people that I've met before, like walking in and someone offering me a job in a 10-minute interview, and I don't know if I'm gonna want to work for them. And so this is like way more interactive and personalized than my experience with other districts and departments. And so I think candidates have told us that they like it too, even though it's a time commitment. Yeah, so it's a mix. It's got pros and cons.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is fire and police staffing. Mr. McKenzie, our YouTube star.
He's never gonna live it down.
Thanks everyone. Hiring as of October 2, so a week ago, we're at 136 separations as of that date, 67 for the year. The all sworn number, the most recent I have for you is still the number I gave you last month. I apologize for that. As of July 31st, we were at 1,020. The authorized funded positions is 1041. I understand that's going to be the same number all year long.
Mr. McKenzie, you said 136 separations?
No, hires.
Hires, okay, yeah, that's not it. Okay. How many separations?
67.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions anyone has? Great. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So who is giving the fire staffing?
Dory.
Dory Towler here.
Gotcha.
Hi. I'm not gonna come on camera, so I will never be a YouTube star. And I'm sick, so you don't want to see me. Okay, we are at 106 uniformed appointments for the year, 79 separations year to date, with a head count of 1,009 out of a budgeted pocket count of 1,112. So that's a plus 27 at this point in the year.
Great. Any questions? Great, thank you. All right, thank you very much. So the next item on the agenda is staffing update.
Thank you, Chair Green. Well, we had our introduction to Emily Winslow, and she is my staffing update. We're so happy to have you here, Emily. She's really been getting right to it, and welcome.
All right, next item is departmental update.
Yes. Thank you again. All right. Our, I think it's right here. Okay. Our departmental update, I'm gonna focus primarily on our budget because I do have budget news to share. Sarah, would you mind putting that? Wait, you joined. Oh, I see. Sarah's gonna put our budget pages from the city's proposed budget book up on the screen, and I'm gonna speak a little bit to that. Oh, and actually I have a copy for you, so you don't have to read that. Okay. All right, well, I'm happy to share that the mayor's proposed 2026 budget did not include any reductions to programs or personnel, as some departments do have in their proposed budgets. There were some adjustments, but this is essentially a status quo budget. We'll maintain all of the operations that we are currently doing in 2025. Sarah, if you wouldn't mind scrolling in on the budget snapshot, those numbers, yeah, thank you. Okay, for those of you who have not been here as long as some of us have, let me put the 2026 proposed budget in some context, at least going back to, yeah, thank you. At least going back to 2024. So you remember way back in 2024, when our department had 3 full-time employees and a budget of slightly under $1 million per year. In October 2024, we did, I signed the agreement to have the public safety exams unit, which we have most of that staff here with us today, to reorganize under the Civ department. We're really happy to have them here. And then, so you see in the 2025 budget, our appropriations increased quite a lot, 3 times essentially, and now we are 10 employees. So the 2026 budget increases by approximately $200,000, at least the proposed, and that's what we see there. And if you scroll down a little bit to the next item, Sarah, I can discuss. Actually, scroll down, please, to the incremental budget changes. Thank you. All right, so there were a few adjustments to the budget, to the baseline. Those are adjustments for standard cost changes. Those are things like our services for IT, perhaps our rent. Those are all lumped in, so that was an increase. There are some proposed technical adjustments too. The AWI ended up shaking out to be, I think, slightly below what had been endorsed in the 2026. And so you see an adjustment down by approximately $20,000. I think it just, the way they forecasted it to be, I think, like 3.5, and it ended up being 3.1 or something like that. Slight decrease resultant to the retirement contributions in the proposed, And so the total incremental changes are bumping it up by, I guess, 155, 15. So that leaves us for the proposed, and that the city council is now considering it slightly more than $3 million. If there are any questions that I can answer, please ask them. But it's our budget analyst said it was the simplest departmental budget that she was dealing with and the shortest budget book. So because there are no substantive changes, just those baseline and technical changes. All right, I'll move on to the budget summary that is in your packet at page 8. I may have said this last month, but this is the new report that our finance and administrative services partners, our accounting and finance team provide for us and the other small departments and executive offices. You can see it's a Power BI report. So this is a screenshot, I think, from a Power BI. It's really a helpful tool and we appreciate their support of it there. What this tells me is that we have we've spent 70% of our budget. At the time of this printing, which was a few days ago, 30% of our budget is remaining. Spending is as we expected and as we've planned for. I don't anticipate any big items or surprise items coming up before the end of the year. And I think we'll wrap up 2025 within our allocated budget and spending on the things that make this department go. But I am happy to take any questions or speak to anyone, any commissioner who'd like to talk to me about this outside of the meeting. They can contact me here.
Does anyone have any questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I will move on to the next item. So the budget update, or I'm sorry, the departmental update, we continue to do our departmental work. We're planning for year-end items, finance items, developing our work plan for 2026, and wrapping up the year strong. The Civil Service Commission will be doing a similar training that you all did last month. They have a hearing, they're heading into a hearing in December, unless that resolves itself. But in any case, we'll be doing that training, looking forward to that. We actually, just for notice of the Civil Service, what they're up to, we had a really interesting training at our meeting last week. Amy Nguyen from the Seattle Department of Human Resources and our own Sarah Butler did a presentation on hiring minimum qual audits, job postings with relation to the civil service rules and personnel rules. It was a really great presentation. And I think less relevant to your all's work, but interesting if you'd like to go and watch that. It's on our YouTube site. Our case status report is at page starts at page 11. And as always, list the request for reinstatement to the eligible register and how we process those. I'm sorry, it actually starts at page 9, where we have appeals. So Officer Ragone, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but that's how I can read it, did file a notice of appeal with the commission. That is case number 2501032A. I reviewed Officer Ragone's materials. They did appear to not be timely to me. And so we notified him of that and asked if he had any other information to provide that might go into a potential dismissal for lack of timeliness. So I'll be looking at what he's provided and making a determination in that case. We also have the Hill matter, that is case number 2401004A. that matter is firmly scheduled for hearing on February 9th through 13th. You all have been set holds for your calendars, and I want to thank you all very much for making yourself available, not just the first time this matter was scheduled, but the second time this was scheduled. I have notified the parties that the state needs to stick. So we will be issuing the new scheduling order in that case, and heading toward hearing. I think you all are well prepared, but we will also schedule, I think, a refresher if y'all think it's needed. On hearing procedure, closer to the time of the hearing, and we have some built-in preparation sessions for you all once you do have the materials provided by the parties in front of you, and will be supported by Joe Levan, our commission counsel. So thank you in advance for the work that you're going to do with the Hill matter. The final appeal that is before this commission is the England v. SPD appeal. Officer England's appeal is 2501024A. He's appealing a suspension. He actually he did file a timely appeal, but we just received notice from Officer England that his union will be grieving the matter. So he will file a voluntary withdrawal form, and I will dismiss this appeal. It will be off, or will be moved down into the next closed section at the time we meet next.
Great, thank you. Any questions anyone has of Shirley about those appeals? All right, well, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is old and new business. The one we have the civil service conference is coming up. Information at the last page of our packet, page 28, about that. And I think there's a fee for that this year, and we think the department probably cover that, right?
There is a cost this year, and if commissioners would like to attend, Teresa Jacobs can work with them to get their registration costs paid for by the commission.
Great. So that concludes the agenda. Is there any other new business any of the commission want to bring up? Okay. All right. It is now 10:31. I will move that we. Oh, I'm sorry. We have our next meeting is we have our meeting on November 20th at. I'm sorry. The joint meeting is at 10 o'clock, and then our meeting is at 11 o'clock. Essentially, right?
Our meeting, so the joint meeting is at 10 o'clock. Thank you. Yes. And that is where the commissioners will take votes on matters related to the executive director, merit days, AWI, etc. And then the commission is actually scheduled to meet at 11:15, but Teresa Jacobs and I were talking this morning, and we think maybe we should bump it back to 11:30 because there are several matters to take up in that meeting, and I think there'll be an executive session to talk with me and other commissioners about the performance evaluation. And so I wonder if on the safe side, we should bump it out to 11:30. There's also a look back on 2025. We'd like to talk about the work of the commissions and the departments in 2025. So in order to fit that all in, I wonder if we should, and if you all would be able to reschedule that meeting for 11:30.
Sure, that's fine with me. Anyone have any concern about that? Okay, great. So why don't we do that? All right. So with that, it's 10:34. I will move that we adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.